The Fourth Estate. Breaking news. Alberta reveals spending plans. Wear your face mask. COVID-19 is airborne. NHL player set dates to resume play. With your news anchors, Nikki and Solrak, reporting live at TalaLuvzRadio Worldwide.
Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Fourth Estate. Solrak here.
And Nikki, good evening, Solrak. We have a lot of guests tonight, so let's get it going. And thank you for watching the Fourth Estate.
Yes, very appreciate all these people watching us live right now here on Facebook. Sir Nikki, like we said, we're gonna jump right into it. I've just heard this news with regards to the third wave as Canada copes with the vaccine drought. So our Prime Minister has warned the Canadians that public health measures, including restrictions on indoor social gatherings, would have to continue for weeks to come as new COVID-19 variants and slow vaccine rollout risk causing dangers for the third wave of the virus. That is very breaking news, Sir Nikki. I can't digest seem to think that we're heading into this yes, we are in the second wave, and now they're speaking of the third wave. So really scary thought there.
Definitely it is.
Now, definitely it is. Now, since we're in this, and COVID is still around us. The Prime Minister also says that Canada is extending 3 COVID-19 benefits along with EI. So as the pandemic continues, Canada COVID-19 benefits are being extended by multiple weeks, and employment insurance is being increased as well. So this was announced today, saying that since the pandemic isn't over, neither the government support is. So yeah, great to hear that the government, of course, is, has our back, especially.
Exactly. There's a lot of people still, out of jobs, Solrak, and this pandemic is not helping at all. So the government has taken that step to help in every way they can.
Yes, and especially a special note from the Prime Minister also said that no one should be going to work sick right now. So if you are, and if you can't work, please do so. There's take advantage of the government's in a way of relief for that EI. So another thing, Sir Nikki, that I want to talk about here quickly is this mandatory hotel quarantine. This is set to mandate coming in on, I think it's the 22nd. So Monday, that will be lifted. So a lot of people are now scared because of this big hotel bills that they're going to be looking at and paying for.
Well, obviously, Solrak, they don't want people traveling, and that's the message they want to send. And we've talked about this before, and as I've said, they should have done this at the start of the pandemic. But still, it's better late than never.
It is exactly that. And so now, for the people, I suggest for the people that's coming in, especially here in Canada, to make sure to get your rates, to call the hotels, especially the ones that are designated by the government. There's different rates, different hotels that are available. So do your due diligence to make sure that that you guys can look after this, because otherwise, obviously, you're going to be in a little bit of a trouble there.
Yes, and again, Solrak, if it's not important to be coming into the country, then definitely don't travel because this is not the time to travel right now.
Quickly, Sir Nicky, how have you been? How was the week for you?
Good, good. It has been a busy week, Solrak. You know, there's lots of things happening, and quickly, if you look at the sports this week, it was exciting. You know, you see Phil American Jordan Clarkson is scoring 40 points. That's a really good game for Clarkson over there.
Yes, and especially coming off from the bench. We've talked about how much of a grit he has, how much of a grind that he puts into his work. It's really paying off. And not only that, the whole team is doing really well. In the last 20 games, Sir Nicky, they've only lost one game. So to Utah Jazz and especially to Jordan Clarkson.
Yes, and already Charles Barkley has said that Jordan Clarkson deserves a spot in the All-Star.
Well, there you go. Sometimes you really, sometimes you have to kind of do that, because when you think of it, these guys are the ones that's coming off from the bench, right? Like they've always talked about this, and I think this should be the time. This should be the year that they should do this thing. They talked about it back then when Lou Williams was really hot coming off from the bench, but never had the ASG under his belt. So, hopefully the first time would be a Phil American, which is Jordan Clarkson.
Yes, and also the Sixth Man of the Year award too, right? Like, so that's in line also with what's gonna happen to him if he continues to play the same way he's playing right now.
Exactly. And lastly, okay, since we're in basketball and sports, Sir Nicky, talking about basketball, we have our kid Kai Soto that went home to do his due diligence with regards to his Gilas Philippines team. Tell me a little bit of the story or background on that.
So Kai Soto went to the Philippines because of his commitment with Gilas, and but unfortunately there were changes in the FIBA eliminations that the host country wasn't able to host it because of the COVID pandemic. So they had to change venue and the schedule had to change. Unfortunately, there is a conflict between Kai's schedule with the Ignite team, NBA G League. So he had to fly back, and he had to quarantine about 6 times before he is allowed to go back and play with his team.
That's something else, isn't it? When you think about it, how much work that they have to go through in terms of just flying back and forth. Sir Nicky, you mentioned something about they gotta make sure when they're testing for the COVID, what kind of procedures did they to go through?
Yes, definitely. But again, Solrak, as I've mentioned, we should salute Kai Soto for honoring his commitment to the national team.
Exactly that. Sir Nicky, we do have quite guests tonight. We have the president of Clearpoint that will be joining us here shortly. Also, we have FCNC Secretary Virginia Sumalino will be also joining us today. Sorry, that was Clearport, president of Clearport, who will be joining us, and Sir Ricky also will be joining us tonight. I'm just trying to get an okay here, whether if he's ready to go or not.
So yes, Solrak, it's been a busy night. It'll be a busy night for us and for our viewers here at the Fourth Estate. Stay tuned, as I've said. If you're watching tonight, just type in your name and on the comment box, and we'll draw a raffle for a bucket of Jollibee chicken.
Awesome. Is this coming straight from Mr. Jollibee?
No, this is coming from the Fourth Estate.
That's right.
This is
Not
Super
yet.
Video.
Oh, medyo nagutom ako. I think I'm gonna need a little snack here. But guys, we'll be right back in just a couple of seconds here. Okay, so stay tuned here with us. Sir Lyle, are you ready? Can you hear me, sir?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I can hear you now. How are you doing?
Very good. Yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, thank you for taking the time tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Sorry I'm not in a suit. I didn't know that it should be dressed so well.
Sir Nicky, meet my partner, or yes, my partner here, Sir Lyle, is Mr. Nicky Gokwan.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, Lyle, tell us something a little bit about the background of Clearport.
Sure. Clearport's a company we started, my former partners and I started back in 2003 as a company bringing people from Mexico to Canada to work. My former partners own a construction company here in Calgary that's been in business for a little over 40 years. And they were really struggling in the early 2000s to find people to work in their company. So they had a engineer working for them from Mexico, and he introduced them to this foreign recruitment market. So they started bringing people from Mexico to work. And I got involved in the company in 2004. And we really looked at it as strictly a company to bring people from Mexico to Canada. We wanted to do it the right way. We wanted to make sure that we weren't exploiting people, that everything was being done properly. And we worked with hundreds of employers across Canada doing just Mexico to Canada. And then later in the 2000s, we got involved in student mobility. So it really in a response to the housing crunch in the United States. And when the markets all took a drop in 2008, we needed to keep the lights on. We needed to keep people working. So we started bringing students again, mainly from Mexico. And then as the years went on, we expanded and got into market development. So now we're a human capital management company, a student mobility company, and market development. But Mexico's been really good to us, but we wanted to kind of expand into other parts of the world. So we've expanded into other parts of Latin America, Europe, and Asia. And our first foray into Asia, I was really grateful that it was the Philippines. So we're just, during COVID, during all this COVID stuff, we really wanted to expand and replicate our businesses in another market. And I knew a lot of people from the Philippines here in Canada. The Philippines, as you likely know, has a very good reputation for sending talent to various parts of the world. And Canada has benefited greatly from that. We're really blessed to have so many Filipino nationals working in Canada, studying in Canada, investing in Canada. So it was just a natural fit for us. So we, during this pandemic, we've opened an office in Manila. I haven't had the opportunity to visit there yet because of this COVID pandemic, but I'm really looking forward to visiting there sometime in hopefully the second or maybe third quarter of this year. We're really hopeful that that'll be an opportunity to go there and officially launch.
Have you got a great deal of the amount or a percentage that you have coming from Philippines just yet?
Well, so far we haven't, like, as I say, we just got started. Well, obviously our internet presence will be strong in the Philippines. So far we haven't brought a huge percentage from the Philippines yet. I do know the numbers coming into Canada. Philippines is the #1 country for sending workers as far as talent goes coming into Canada. But when you're talking about students, the Philippines is one of the fastest growing countries in the world, but it's way behind other Asian countries like China, obviously, and India would be the top country for that.
So is it more directed to students, or are you also looking at immigrants, workers? What are their sources? What are the type of way to get to your association?
That's an excellent question. Yeah. So we view it as whatever the market dictates. As when Canada bounces back from this pandemic and the obvious slowdowns from it, we see workers as being a real strong suit. And we see the Philippines, again, the #1 sending country in the world. We see the Philippines as a great source for talent, for people to come and work here. specifically in healthcare. We see healthcare as a real opportunity, but other opportunities as well. Students, I think the student business, Canada had close to 700,000 students, international students in Canada in 2019. So we see, again, the bounce back from this pandemic, and even the third or fourth quarter of this year, September intake, we see a lot of students coming. And the investment piece, frankly, we see a great opportunity for Canadian companies to do business in the Philippines and for Philippine companies to come here, and for Philippine nationals to immigrate to Canada as well. And whether they want to have dual citizenship or you move and immigrate to Canada, as you were saying, we see that as a great opportunity. So really, all three of our business lines we're really excited about. We see some real good opportunities to do business in the Philippines. We see really good opportunities for workers to come from the Philippines to Canada, and frankly to other markets that we work in as well. And we see a really strong opportunity for that business investment piece.
Lal,
yes.
There's a lot of companies that do recruitment again, and you mentioned specifically at the start of this conversation that you guys want to do it right. What sets Clearport apart from competition?
Yeah, thank you. That's an excellent question. And I'm not here to disparage the competition. We just interviewed so many workers over the years. And when we started in Mexico, the first thing we wanted to make sure we were doing is that we were doing this the right way. And when I say right, I mean not exploiting people. When you think of human capital and people moving from countries to countries, typically the people are exploited. And I've interviewed hundreds of Filipino nationals working in Canada that have paid exorbitant fees to come to Canada. They've been taken advantage of by immigration consultants, by immigration lawyers, by shady recruiters in both parts of the world, like not just in Canada, in the Philippines as well. So what sets us apart is we want to do everything clear. Everything has to be very transparent when we're doing this business, and it has to be ethical. We're not going to be charging workers for the opportunity to come and work in Canada. On the contrary, the employer will pay us. They will pay our fees associated with them coming to Canada. Furthermore, we want people to understand what they're getting into when they come to Canada. So just take, for example, someone coming to work in Calgary in a fast food scenario, just as an example, and they're going to make minimum wage, $15 an hour. We want to make sure they understand that $15 an hour might sound like a lot of money compared to what they might be earning in their native country. But once you take your source deductions, you take your rent, you take your bus pass, your food, all the other costs, it doesn't leave a lot left over. And then if you think about that, and I love your question, because if you think about if there's some kind of unethical person involved somewhere in this equation, they're taking money from that person over and above that. And I met a young Filipino man. I can't tell you his name only because he's been here for the last 4 years illegally. And he's working for, I'm sad to say, a Philippine national that owns a company here, and they're temping him out, but he doesn't have a valid work permit. so they're temping him out to another construction company that I know the owners of, and they're the ones that came to me heartbroken because they know he's legal to them because they're paying the company the fee, but the worker came to them and said, "Hey, I don't have status here." And we're helping him navigate through that. But those are some terrible stories, and we see lots of them, of them.
Definitely, and we appreciate what you're doing. Definitely, this is a positive thing for not just for the Filipino community, but also for the Mexicans that you're, Mexican workers that's coming to Canada that you're helping right now. In the current situation, the pandemic, how is this very different right now as far as processing for paper and preparing those workers to come into Canada? Because, there's always a disconnect, I believe, with the manpower agencies bringing in people and not orienting them the way they should be oriented, the Canadian way.
I couldn't agree more, and that's why we don't really consider ourselves a manpower agency. We work for the employers, so the employers have to hire them. The first part of your question is, what's this market like now? Well, the market, frankly, is dictated by the demand. So we're still bringing workers from all parts of the world. We're bringing workers from Africa through a Francophone mobility program, Mexico still. And these are critical workers. So we're bringing in truck drivers, long haul truck drivers. I wish I would have got to the Philippines a few years ago. I tried a number of years ago, but what I was seeing was the agencies doing the work in Canada and the agencies doing the work in the Philippines. Many of them had a lot of ethical challenges. And so we just couldn't see a way to partner. And I just never explored it too much further, but we see the demand for workers really growing. And the advantage the Philippines has over many countries is the language. The language is a big advantage. We went to Mexico with some representatives from Alberta Health a number of years ago, looking for nurses, aides and nurses. And that's been exposed, frankly, in the Canadian market now. With COVID, we've really seen that we have a shortage of healthcare workers, especially at those entry levels. There's a real challenge to have strong healthcare workers across the country. And when we went to Mexico, we found a lot of eager and keen and qualified people, but they didn't have the language. So now you have to bring them to Canada, and you've got to integrate them to Canada. And as you said, prepare them for all those things, like the weather, the transportation, the cost of living, all those things. If someone smokes, for example, they might smoke in Mexico and pay $1 for a pack of cigarettes. And in Canada, that same pack of cigarettes is going to cost them $15. So we discourage everyone from smoking for that reason. But yeah, just to integrate them properly and to do everything properly is something you really have to be mindful of. And I'm telling you, I know Canada's got 35 million people, but there's a shortage of essential workers in lots of different sectors. And we need to find countries we can bring people from, but we need to bring them here ethically and responsibly. That's the key.
Appreciate that, Sir Lyle. Now, speaking of internationally, we are also being heard and we're also being watched internationally also. Is there anything else that you can maybe send to different parts of the world here that you want to invite and, contact Clearport?
Yeah, I would really like people to visit our website. We have a really strong website. It's still a work in progress, but we want people to come and become a member of Clearport. We give them a gift when they join. We give them an assessment tool that we have invested heavily in. It really helps us understand where the person's at as far as their English skills and other essential skills that will be critical to them coming to Canada. And it's more than just a CELPIP or an IELTS test. It's an assessment that will tell them where their English is at, but it also gives them access for a year where they can get free online study plans and be able to improve their skills. So we're really excited about launching that and having a lot more Clearport people coming to our website and see how we can help them, whether they want to study here, whether they want to work here, or if they want to immigrate to Canada.
Lyle, can you please spell out the website for our viewers, please?
Yes, it's www.clearport, CLEARPORT.ca.
Thank you very much, Lyle. That was very informative, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, gentlemen, and I wish you the best as well. And if there's ever anything we can do, and I'm going to start watching your show now. I want to see some of your guests and see what you guys are doing.
Thank you very much, Lyle.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you guys. Take care. Okay. Have a nice weekend. Take care.
You as well.
See you later.
And say hi to everybody down there.
Yeah, and I just want to say I've been really blessed. I've had so many friends from the Philippines over the years. Canada's a mosaic of so many cultures, but the Philippine culture has been amazing. Our family's been really blessed by it. Some of my closest friends, and I call them my brothers and sisters. They're from the Philippines for many years. So
Canada is a great country, Lyle.
We love you guys. Thanks so much. Take care.
Have a good night.
See you later.
There you have it, folks. President of Clearport, Lyle. Sir Nicky, 2 reasons. A lot of times we hear this so many times that recruiting and all of this stuff, it's almost, I don't know, it's something that you don't want to hear about. It's something that's already been, to me in the Philippines, it's almost like, sorry?
The word is scary.
It is, you know. Madami nang naloko, you know, and madami nang naloko, and like what he said, you know, a lot of people has been put into a lot of hoops, you know, just to get here, or not even that, just to exploit them and use their money, you know, and take their money. So, you know, when I heard about this Clearport, and when I heard about these people, you know what, there's nothing that I can pick, there's nothing that I cannot, you know, all the time when I hear things like this, there's got to be something wrong. Find something wrong. Find something, you know, something that's telling you different, you know. And when I was, you know, when I had the chance to interview these guys, nothing but genuine, you know, and straight shooter like us, Sir Nicky. It's believe it or not, and
you know, so
the way
that's exactly the point, right? Like, so all these questions are directed to them, directed to Lau tonight. Will show you that they're here for a genuine cause. They're here to help, and I hope people will stay away from all these illegal recruiters. If you have a dream to come to Canada, then, you know, one of those companies you have to look at, and not just Clearport, but one of the companies that you can look at is Clearport, definitely.
There you have it. So Nicky, we're just coming into our halfway in our show here, so we're gonna take a quick break. Grab your drink, folks. Stay where you are. We'll be right back. We've got special guests coming up right here at the Fort Estate. So Rock and Nicky, we'll be right back.
Hi guys, it's Sherry Ann of TalaLuvzRadio Worldwide. TalaLuvzers and TalaLuvz viewers from all over the galaxy. Don't forget to tune in to TalaLuvzRadio Worldwide 24 hours, 7 days a week, only at www.TalaLuvzRadio.com. And of course, now our very own app is also available for download. So check that out, and you can take us wherever you go with our class trance music, because we are the home of the stars where love resides. Spread the love, love, love. A Sunday of praise with your love DJ, Sherry Ann, from 4 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Don't forget to tune in every Mondays, Kikai Girls, from 7 to 8 p.m. Because you feel you, I feel me, I feel you, we feel each other, because we are the Kikai Girls.
Angel and Sherry Ann.
Tune in every Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. at TalaLuvzRadio, our local radio here in YYC, with your love DJs, Sherry Ann and DJ Soulrack. Every Fridays, Saikari's TV from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with our DJ, VJ, Saikari's, aka DJ Love. Tune in every Fridays from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. for our breaking news live with Carlos and Tita Nikki.
The Fourth Estate.
Check out every Saturday from all day, only at TalaLuvzRadio Worldwide at www.TalaLuvzRadio.com and our very own app at TalaLuvzRadio. Download it now for a top 40 Billboard charts all day long on Saturdays. Please don't forget to check us out also at our very own hub, our very own network at www.TalaLuvzRadio.com. That's www.TalaLuvzRadio.com. And for the comfort of being able to bring us wherever you go with our 24 hours, 7 days a week class trance music, because here at TalaLuvzRadio, we are the home of the stars where love resides. TalaLuvzRadio Worldwide. Hi guys.
Welcome back, everybody. And again, good evening and good morning to everybody watching us in Canada and also in the Philippines. Sir Nicky, we have quite a guest here tonight. What's going on?
Oh, tonight is powerhouse, right? We have a couple of guests, and earlier on we had the president of Clearport. So thank you for joining us. So without further ado, Solrak, I won't waste their time because their time is so valuable. Tonight we have the secretary of the Filipino Canadian National Congress, and she's also the vice president of the Philippine Business Society of Alberta. Alam mo, Solrak, napakahaba, no? This is very long because talaga naman yung guest natin ang daming achievement, she's actually the first the only teacher to be recognized here without upgrading. Just imagine that, no? Very interesting story. And in 2004, best teacher sa American International School. So, Virginia Sumalinog is a shining example, not just in the community but in the Canadian society. And then our second guest is an honorable gentleman as well, a really fine businessman and golfer, and Mr. Ricky Santos. So,
good evening, everyone.
Yes, thank you, and welcome to the Fourth Estate. So let me start with Ate Virginia. The Filipino Canadian National Congress. This had their induction last night, and I just wanted to know, and I have some questions that I need to clarify as far as how did this evolve?
Actually, this started, I think, 3 months ago, and it started with when Narima, the president of SPEEDS in Vancouver, Vancouver, started calling us like leaders, at least 2 leaders from each province to organize what we call as this FCNC. Upon the suggestion or upon the initiative of MP Kevin Lamoureux of Manitoba.
So what inspired the group to form the FCNC, Filipino Canadian National Congress?
Because according to MP Kevin Lamoureux, Nick, there is no organization that is affiliated with the parliamentary friendship group as of now. There is a parliamentary friendship group in Ottawa right now, and it's composed of 4 MPs. And they have the Ukrainian community, but there's none from the Filipino community. So that is actually how it evolved and how it is inspired. That's the first Filipino community that's being recognized by the Parliamentary Friendship Group. Remember Senator Inverga? He started it and he wanted to organize among the Filipinos, but unfortunately he's gone. So it's MP Kevin who is now doing it.
I think, Solrak, do you have a question for Ate Virginia here?
Yeah, Mom Virginia, what is the ultimate goal of the FCNC, and how's the group plan to achieve that?
As I have said, there are how many provinces in Canada? There are 8, right? So there are 2 representatives from each province, and we have 3 territories too. So far, as of now, there are only 13 of us who said yes to the commitment. So we have, the goal is to represent the Filipino people with regards to the concern and interest. With regards, we have 17 committees. We are assigned, each representative is assigned to one committee that will take charge of some concerns in member education, for example, family and children. So we have actually 17, if I enumerate all of them: seniors and veterans, youth and internship, finance and fundraising, arts, culture and heritage, business and trade, education and professional training, health and safety, housing and transportation, immigrants and TFWs, inclusion and gender equality, labor employment and skills training, sports and we have technology and advanced education, tourism and environment. So those are the basic committees.
And how are they?
Each representative is assigned that we will look after.
Thank you, Ms. Virginia. And how are these people elected, or are they volunteers? How are they
I
elected?
could not hear you. Sorry.
How are
You're cutting.
Yeah, how are they elected, or how are they chosen? Their representatives. I think that's what Solrak's question is.
Narima called, like, for each province 2 representatives, like 2 leaders. Like, I'm a leader of the PBSA. I was the former president of this main organization. So, and the other one is from Calgary. So 2 of us are representing Alberta. And we have 2 also from Vancouver. So 2 leaders from each province. And then among us, we elected the officers and the chairpersons of the different committees.
Okay. So, Virginia, there's a lot of organizations have been set up, and to bridge the gap between the Filipino Canadian and the federal government. How is FCNC different?
Yeah, the difference is, the distinct difference is that FCNC is affiliated with the Parliamentary Friendship Group. So you see that it's easy to, we're connected, right? There will be a direct communication from us because we are affiliated with this group. So actually the chairman is again Kevin Lamoureux. That's the liberal, right? And then it's composed of different parties, not only one party. We have Alice Wong, who's a conservative, then another one different. So it's composed of different parties, not just one party. So we are not mandated by one party. It's not something political.
It's definitely we don't want the FCNC. We don't want to see the FCNC lean on one party, right? This is for the Filipino Canadians, and we want a balanced group, right?
Yes, that's the word, Nick. Did you see the induction yesterday? Last night?
I saw the induction.
Yeah, lots of from different parties and Philippine consuls from different places.
And
yeah,
maybe
so I like to quote
that.
I like to quote the statement of Lamoureux. Yes,
okay.
Last night he said there is a special relationship that we don't have with any other organization. So that's a very strong statement, right? So that shows his support, and he's from the parliament. So he says that he recognizes the value of this national group with the betterment of Filipino people from coast to coast. And then the other one is he established that he wants us to have meetings and convey the opinions from throughout Canada, different provinces. And then we make reports to the parliament. So there is, and lobby our concerns.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to Virginia, maybe we can involve Sir Ricky. Sir Ricky, do you have any questions with regards to the newly formed Filipino Canadian National Congress?
Well, I really don't have any questions right now, but just like what you stated earlier, I am hoping that this FCNC group where Virginia belongs to would remain apolitical. They should not be siding to any political group, especially it could potentially influence the Filipino community here in Canada.
Yes, and very, very, very good.
Actually, we asked that question, Ricky, when we started, because I have from a different political party and other different parties. So we started asking, what if you're gone? And then his answer was, look at the Ukrainian group. They've been there for how many years? So this organization will depend upon the Filipinos on how you will sustain this organization. So it all depends upon us.
Yes,
and it doesn't matter if you're no longer there.
Yes.
Like the Ukrainian group. That's what he said.
Yeah, Ate Virginia, you have a very vast experience. You're very neutral, and I know that, and I see that in the community, and which is a good thing. And there's a lot of things that I believe is working towards this FCNC with you around. So how do you intend to communicate this to the grassroots level? How do you intend to unite the community and rally towards the FCNC?
Very good question, Nick. I think we have to impress the group first, no? We have to do something like something that you will see that will impress you. Otherwise, it's hard to convince the organizations, It's hard. I've tried that. Yeah, but we have to show something that maybe we'll gather all the leaders first, but we cannot do that unless we need to show something like visible, like a task that's being accomplished, and then
yes.
While I
Can I
have
butt
you,
in?
yeah, go ahead, please.
One thing that I would say is that we Filipinos have the attitude that is called the Ningas Kugon. So FCNC should actually be coming up with a program that would invite the interest of the Filipino community in general, and then help the group to sustain it and not allow that what we call the crab mentality to set in.
Yeah. It's a challenge because we're composed of different leaders around Canada. So it's a challenge who will be able to accomplish or advocate for such thing. And I had one question last night because I'm in charge of the education committee and education and professional trainings. The problem about some professionals coming from Philippines or engineers, for example, when they come here, they're no longer engineers, but just cleaners, etc. So my answer was, while we are here, we have to follow the standard of Canada because of a standard. The problem is, like for teachers, for example, when you are a teacher from the Philippines, you have to go back for another 2 years in the university. If you have the master's or the PhD degree, you will be asked to go back to the university for 1 year. Bridging purposes, like they have their own methods here of teaching. So the problem is many of our teachers came from Philippines cannot go back to the university because they are unable to pass the English test, the IELTS. It's asking for a band 8 academic result. It's hard for them to pass the test. So instead of complaining about why they cannot teach here right away, the thing is we will help these teachers pass the IELTS exam. So maybe we'll have a review class for that.
Virginia.
So that's one solution. Maybe class for engineering.
Yeah.
Maybe a review class for the nurses. Yes.
Yeah. Let me interject. Okay. Our advocacy. Okay. My advocacy in the fourth estate. We've been fighting hard to see and want to see the accreditation of credentials, and not just for teachers, but for engineers, for doctors, for nurses, and so on and so forth. Be put forward, put to table. It's been so long that we know we have qualified teachers. We know we have qualified doctors. We know, and I understand Canadian standards, but there is a way that we can do this, right? We were talking to Ambassador Robles, and when he was guest at the Fourth Estate, and we were talking about bridging the gap. That bridging the gap should come from the Philippine government as well, reaching out to the Canadian schools. If we can bring students, exchange students all around, why won't we exchange teachers? Send these Canadian teachers to the Philippines. Whoever wants to migrate to Canada, have these teachers teach them whatever profession it is and upgrade from the country of origin. Right?
Yeah. If if we ask our doctors to come, when our doctors in the Philippines come to Canada, they do upgrading. The doctors also coming from Canada, when they go to Philippines, they will also do upgrading. Like they have to take the Filipino language, they have to take the Rizal course, same, vice versa.
Yes. So
Like the lawyers.
Yes, at the Virginia, I understand that. But if we do the exchange,
Yeah.
right? If we do the exchange, we minimize the expense, right? We minimize the time, the lag time, because that downtime doesn't help the government as far as income tax is concerned. I totally understand because, you know, the associations want to protect Canadians, and that's fine because you have to know the Canadian law, you have to know the Canadian way of doing things, right? But there must be a better way, a better solution that can be, you know, can be devised without bringing in people saying they're qualified, they are having this scores to come to Canada and say, okay, you're qualified to come to Canada as a teacher, but when you reach here, you're not able to do so. That is a lapse in the system. And I believe Sir Ricky has some comments on this as well.
I can actually say something about this in a very direct manner because one of the reasons why we were approved to immigrate to Canada was because of our credentials. My wife was a pharmacist. Myself, I'm a mechanical engineer, right? Now we got here and we cannot be immediately accredited as pharmacists and as well as a mechanical engineer. And that's because we need to have that upgradings that would bring us to speed regarding Canadian standards, right? What you are talking about, Nikki, earlier is a very good way of doing things. However, this must first start with the government of the Philippines as well as the government of Canada. Both governments should establish a bilateral agreement.
Exactly.
And then next to that is that universities in the Philippines or colleges should also tie up with the universities and colleges here.
Yes.
Because that is what is lacking. The Canadian education system does not recognize the Philippine education system, despite the fact that we are an American based educational system.
Yes.
Right? But the Canadian system does not recognize that. That's because there is no accreditation that's going on. And that's because it goes back to the bilateral agreement that is non-existent.
Yes.
I agree with you because in the US, they accept like teachers can teach there right away after passing the exam. In the US, the nurses after passing the exam can teach right away. There's no upgrading.
That is very true.
Have to take an exam and then they don't. If they pass the exam, there's no upgrading, but they just have to take the exam. But here, you have to do upgrading because they said it's patterned after UK, and our education in the Philippines is patterned after the US.
That's correct.
Yes, and I believe at the Virginia, you know, I know you have a very limited time, and we really appreciate your presence tonight. And hopefully, in another show, we'll have you back. We want to know and understand how you were able to be recognized as a teacher, and that's on our next show, to be able to work in Canada without upgrading. That would be an interesting thing.
I'm so proud of that.
Yes.
I think for now, I'm the only
yes,
education told me that.
Yeah. So, Ate Virginia, thank you very much for guesting here at the Fourth Estate, and we'll hope to see you soon and stay safe.
Okay. I'm very thankful and honored to be invited by the Fourth Estate. Why is it called Fourth Estate, by the way, Nick?
The Fourth Estate.
Yeah. We'll text each other. I'm asking why it's called like that. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for the interview. Have a good night. Bye.
Good night.
So, Sir Ricky, let's continue on with the credentials. Very good point, sir. We've been advocating to link. The fourth estate has been advocating this link to try to make this happen, because it's for so many years this has been the issue, and no one has really stepped forward to really think about and how we could make things happen.
I have a question. Do we know if U.S. is doing such thing or not?
No, primarily the Americans know for sure that the educational system in the Philippines is practically patterned after their system, right? The Canadian education system is patterned after the UK system, right? And so it's a completely different system that's working. That's why there is no recognition. Now, as far as I know, when we just arrived here, University of the Philippines was actually recognized as educational institution here in Canada. UP graduates are immediately given the opportunity to challenge the test.
Yes.
Right? However, as time went by, I believe that that recognition of the University of the Philippines kind of vanished. So it's gone. So we cannot do anything about that. Now, like what I said earlier, this must start at the very top. The Philippine government should establish a bilateral agreement with the Canadian government, and then both governments will look into the educational system, look at the similarities and the differences, and then they could come up with a formula that would merge that educational system together. That way, Filipinos graduating in Philippine universities come here and immediately recognized. But until such time that the bilateral agreement is not established, we cannot do anything.
100%.
Yes. Sorry, Solra. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to say 100%, because otherwise we're going to sound like a broken record. It's going to be the same thing over and over again. Even a government official will come down here, and next thing you know, they're going to be working in the fast food restaurants or whatever the case may be. So
please note that
be a broken record.
Yes, this one is the difference. When we talked to Ambassador Robles about this, remember we talked about this is a provincial jurisdiction. Accreditation of credentials is a provincial jurisdiction, not a federal jurisdiction. So it's a little bit harder that it has to go to the provinces, and the provinces has to make way. This is one of my questions that I raised when Jason Kenney was running for premier, because it is a serious issue and no one has really looked into it. And regardless of who's gonna be premier of the province of Alberta, or who's gonna be the premier of the province of Ontario, we really need to come together and voice this out and make this happen.
Right.
And not only Nikki, and this is the same reason why I wanted to bring in the president of Clearport, is because, again, finding the right way on how to migrate or where to, get you directed to in terms of working purposes, and you could lead into the right pathway, as opposed to migrating here, but or temporary working here, and you'll be starting from the bottom, obviously.
Yes, and,
but from what I know.
Yeah, let's veer away from the credentials for a bit here, Solrak, and go to the basics.
I was gonna say, I understand, and I heard that Sir Ricky has a lot of experience that he can share with us here in Canada. Sir Ricky, how long have you been in Canada for?
We came to Canada in 1996. We immigrated at the time. I actually arrived here earlier than my family. I arrived here at the height of winter, sometime in February. I couldn't remember the date, but the whole family followed afterwards, but they all arrived here in July, right? So how long have I been? 25 years.
So, Ricky, we've been advocating also in the show to tell people things that they should know when they come into Canada. The biggest problem we're seeing is there's a disconnect with the orientation that is given from the country of origin, which is the Philippines. And when you arrive, you're given all this booklet of the provinces, the history. That's fine, right? That's fine. But you come here, and in my experience, I was sharing a few episodes back. I said, you know, pinapara ko yung bus. I was trying to stop the bus like what we can see in the Philippines, right? But here you don't do that, right? So because no one ever guides you, no one ever teaches you when you arrive here. You're all by yourself. You're trying to adjust to climate. You're trying to adjust to food. You're trying to adjust to everything, yet you don't get the guidance. So we at the Fourth Estate had made it a mission to be a guiding light, right? And invite valuable guests like you to share your experiences. And let's say, you know, I talked to a person in the restaurant, and I said, can I have a Pepsi? Right? Can I have a soft drink? Sorry. Can I have a soft drink? They don't understand what soft drink is. They look at me blankly and say, what is he talking about?
Right.
Sorry.
You're looking for your comfort room. You cannot find it because they call it washroom, right?
Yes, restroom.
Yes. What I could say is that Filipinos coming to Canada at this time are actually at a much higher advantage because of the internet, right? People could do some basic research prior to coming here if they're planning to come here, most especially once their immigration or travel papers are being processed. They should start digging information, right? They should not rely on the government to give them the necessary orientation, because for the foreign worker program, for example, who is going to give them the orientation? People from POEA. Who are those people giving the orientation? They never left the Philippines. How could they give orientation to people who are going to other countries? So what do you expect? Nothing, right? All that they could tell people at the POA, maybe, ingat kayo dyan, hindi natin alam ang kalagayan dyan. Those are the things that they could tell the Filipinos who are living, right? That's for the foreign workers. Now, for the immigrants, nobody's going to tell you anything unless you have relatives here who could advise you what you are going to expect. The biggest thing that you are going to see once you arrive here without doing your research is the cultural shock. It's completely different, right? In the Philippines, you are trying to cross a pedestrian lane. It's a pedestrian lane, but the cars are still zooming by. They will bubusinahan ka. They will sound their horn. They will even yell at you, right? Here, you stand at the side of the road, whether there's a pedestrian lane or not. Cars will stop to give room to you, allow you to cross the street. That's a good cultural shock that I used as an example. Now, Canada is actually a country of mostly immigrants, right? But you still see, no matter how they call it subtle, but there's still racism. That's another thing that Filipinos should be prepared of when they decide to come here. And another example is that what you just said, you cannot just flag a bus here. There are no buses, there are no jeepneys, there are no tricycles here. Owning a car is a necessity. It's not a luxury. In the Philippines, owning a car is a luxury. So those are the things that you need to consider. One good thing about being here in Canada is that even if you are a minimum wage earner, you will be able to survive, right? You can afford to pay for an apartment. You could probably afford to buy a second-hand car in good running condition and so on, as compared to the minimum wage earners in the Philippines. There's nothing. So those are the differences. And my primary advice, with the internet that we have, use it. Do your research. Join.
I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Ang marami na, there's a lot of way of getting to know the city you're going to. Social media is wide. Back then, 1995, Sir Ricky, when we came here, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as social media. There's no such thing as Facebook. You can't see the pictures. You can't see anything.
There's no food state, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
In 1996, when I left the Philippines, actually, cell phones are not even used yet. I was using a pager at the time.
Yes.
Beeper.
I was using a pager.
Beeper yung beeper.
Beeper, yeah. Pocket bell, right? You remember those days, pocket bell days.
That's right.
So anything else that you can share us that you know that would benefit our viewers na magma-migrate or even people that are thinking of coming here.
Okay.
Anything that you can think of.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say anything that you can think of that's very, very random na talagang maalala nyo na hindi nyo makakalimutan. Memorable.
Okay. One other thing that Filipinos coming to Canada should be very aware of, definitely is the weather, especially when you intend to come to Alberta, Edmonton in particular. Our winter could last between 4 months to 6 months, right? And our summer could only be 1 month of rain. So that's those are the realities here. Even during the summer months that we call here, you could also experience those weird instances when snow will come down in May or in August or in June. Alberta is probably the tip of what they call the tornado alley. So once in a while, we also see tornadoes here, and that's devastating. That's for sure. It's much stronger than the typhoons that we are seeing in the Philippines because this is swirling. It will uproot trees and houses and everything. So what else can I share? Perseverance. That's one key that it's actually inherent in most Filipinos, but some Filipinos don't pursue it. Just continue persevering. Work hard and work honestly. I know of some Filipinos here who came to Canada joining the temporary foreign worker program, and they're also successful businessmen now, businessmen, businesswomen. And I salute them because of perseverance and honesty. Combined together, they succeeded in what they got into.
Sir Ricky, talking about business, you're into business, and I'm really happy to see Filipino Canadians get into business here and try to expand what they can do in Canada, living in here. What can you share to our viewers as far as doing business in Canada?
Well, primarily, it's very important to conduct a feasibility study. Right? You need to make sure that what you are getting into is not just plain headache. You need to make sure that your investment will bring in back your money. However, it doesn't happen all the time. Our business was, I would call it successful. However, when this pandemic hit, cannot do anything. People are being locked down. People are not going anywhere. So most, if not all of the businesses are actually suffering. The only business that is not being affected by this pandemic are those online businesses.
Yes, sir. Do you think the government has done enough as far as helping small businesses like yours?
I believe that they've done huge things in terms of helping out the businesses. Is it enough? It's a question, right? Is it enough or is it not enough? It depends on a lot of things. Maybe it could be enough, maybe it's not. But definitely, I would say that it's not enough because it's not going to fully cover what you're losing. So they are only the help that they offered is just try to make you survive. That's what it is, and it's all that they could do. And I also understand the fact that the government doing this is also being indebted now. Canada is now indebted for billions of dollars because of this pandemic. But as a government, they need to do something in order to revive the economy. But unless this pandemic stops, I personally do not see any revival of the economy anytime soon.
My last question before we end the show here, Sir Ricky, going back to our community, you've been here 25 years. You say, for me, what I've seen different is obviously there's a lot of associations and all of this stuff that's coming in. Just like when we had, Madame Virginia there earlier. What have you seen changes? And what do you think can improve more in terms of not only here in Alberta? We all know this. A lot of communities or associations are being built nationwide. Ng mga Filipinos. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, as a matter of fact, I am very happy to see that Filipinos are organizing. They're coming together, and organizations that are being put up sometimes would last years and years, right? Although there are still those random instances when inggitan gets in. Yeah, chismisan gets in. That's the miss of the organization. Since we arrived here, I intentionally did not become active with any Filipino organization except for the Knights of Columbus. That's the only organization that I joined because I know that it's not going to suffer from the Ningas Kugon mentality, right? And it's also a very good organization of Catholic men who are actually the servants of the church. Other organizations like Bismen, like Pangasinan, whatever, like all the other Bicolanos and things like that. These are all good organizations. It's nice for Filipinos to be joining this in order to what do you call this? At least be recognized. But what I would suggest is that once you decide to join an organization, at least be active even for a year or two. Help out the organization grow. Right? Do not cause anything that would cause problems to the organization. Try to contribute. That's all I could say.
Any last questions for Sir Ricky and
definitely, Solrak, would like to thank Mr. Ricky Santos. I know he's very busy, and we always try to catch each other and make some comments about current issues and so on and so forth. And it was a pleasure, sir, to have you tonight. And I hope this won't be the last.
Well, sure. And thank you very much too. It's an honor that you took me in as a guest of your show, and I'm hoping that I managed to at least give some hints to our kababayas who are planning to come here. Thank you very much for inviting me to the show.
Thank you very much. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
It's been a great night so far. We've learned so much. and I'm hoping, and of course, all of our viewers, all of our listeners has picked up, what we've laid down today. So I mean, there was a lot there. Again, what can you say?
Well, that's the fourth estate for you. We're meaty, eh?
We're meaty indeed. No, again, yeah, I wasn't able to ask a lot of questions with Miss Virginia, and I think we have two guys that we can bring in, and I think we can have a lengthy conversation between the two. I think I would like to see Sir Hermo and Miss Virginia at the same time, and tackle what they've when they came here, and again, not being able to upgrade what they've what they've done, and what they have accomplished back home, and was able to pursue their profession here in Alberta, and that's really great to hear. And again, Sir Lyle from Clearport.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for bringing in Sir Lyle Solrak. Lyle was very informative. He gave us a lot of information with regards to Clearport. This is very helpful to our kababayans who would like to work here in Canada. And again, before we end, Solrak, I'd like to encourage each and every one of our viewers to download the Notify app. You're gonna see the Fourth Estate, not just the Fourth Estate, but the shows of TalaLuvzRadio on the Notify app. So you don't have to be online. Nasa app po yan. Panoorin nyo and enjoy.
And by the way, wag po kayong wag niyo pong kalilimutan. Mag-leave lang po kayo ng comments dyan. Leave your name. We're gonna do a draw. Kung meron man dito sa Calgary at meron sa Edmonton, we'll do the draw, and I'll pick one here in Calgary, and I'm sure Sir Nicky will do the same in Edmonton, and
yeah, just
we'll get from our podcast.
Definitely, Solrak, and maraming salamat sa ating viewers, and it's a wonderful night of the Fourth Estate against Solrak, and shall see you next week.
Yun po, ang The Fourth Estate, Sir Nicky and Solrak here. Welcome po kayo again, once again, next week po. Don't forget, every Friday from 8:30 to 9:30. We'll see you then. Stay safe.
Thank you.